Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. From error to error, one discovers the entire truth. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. The only person with whom you have to compare yourself is you in the past. Thought is action in rehearsal. In the small matters trust the mind, in the large ones the heart. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization. The ego is not master in its own house. We are what we are because we have been what we have been, and what is needed for solving the problems of human life and motives is not more estimates but more knowledge. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. The virtuous man contents himself with dreaming that which the wicked man does in actual life. A man should not strive to eliminate his complexes, but to get into accord with them. They are legitimately what directs high conduct in the world. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. The mind is like an iceberg, it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Friendship is an art of keeping distance while love is an art of intimacy. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. People do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility and most people are frightened of responsibility. Love and work, work and love. That's all there is. Public self is a conditioned construct of the inner psychological self. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises. The more perfect a person is on the outside, the more demons they have on the inside. Time spent with cats is never wasted. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. Ultimately, after endless rebuffs, it succeeds. This is one of the few points in which one may be optimistic about the future of mankind. Sadism is all right in its place, but it should be directed to proper ends. Experience teaches us that the world is not a nursery. One must be humble, one must keep personal preferences and antipathies in the background, if one wishes to discover the realities of the world. The weakness of my position does not imply a strengthening of yours. The more the fruits of knowledge become accessible to men, the more widespread is the decline of religious belief. Dogs love their friends and bite their enemies, quite unlike people, who are incapable of pure love and always have to mix love and hate. Men are more mortal than they think and far more immoral than they can imagine. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. The dream is a sort of substitution for those emotional and intellectual trains of thought.